Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming at you with a book that literally changed my perspective on life's challenges. The Adversity Advantage, Turning Everyday Struggles into Everyday Greatness by Erik, Weihenmayer and Stoltz. So picture this. I was going through some really pretty tough stuff recently. I was feeling stuck and overwhelmed. You know how it gets. And like I always do, I turned to books for answers, and that's when I rediscovered this gem that completely shifted how I view my challenges in my life. Now, before we dive in, drop a comment below and telling me how about a challenge you're facing right now. I'm genuinely curious. Are you avoiding it or leaning into it? And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss future videos where I'll get into the real practical strategies. Okay, so let's get into it. The core premise of this book is something that honestly blew my mind when I first encountered it. We humans are hardwired to avoid adversity, right? When things get tough, our instinct is to run the other way because, hello, stress isn't fun. But that's where Weihenmayer and Stoltz flip the script. They argue that we should actually welcome adversity into our lives. Yes, you heard that right. Not just tolerate it, but actively welcome it. I know what you're thinking. Are you serious right now? Why would I want more problems? Trust me, I had the same reaction. But stay with me here because this insight is powerful. According to the authors, it's only through adversity that we actually grow and improve our circumstances, our life circumstances. Now let that sink in for a moment. Think about it. When was the last time you experienced significant personal growth while sitting in your comfort zone? Comment below with your answer, and I'm really curious to hear about your experiences. Now, one of the most enlightening concepts from the book is the distinction between what they call primary greatness and secondary greatness. This part really hit home for me. Primary greatness is all about character and contribution, the impact you have on others, the legacy you leave, how you show up in the world when things get difficult. Secondary greatness, on the other hand, is what our society tends to celebrate. Prestige, wealth, status, fame, achievements that look good on paper, but don't necessarily contribute anything meaningful to the world. The authors make this powerful observation. Few people ever achieve both types of greatness. Celebrities often achieve secondary greatness, but everyday people, especially those raising children with strong character, achieve primary greatness without any recognition. Here's a question for you. Which type of greatness are you currently pursuing in your life? Secondary greatness with its external validation or primary greatness with its lasting impact? Hit the pause, just think about that, and then drop your answer in the comments below. If you're finding value in this book or this video so far, please smash that like button. Now here's where things get really interesting. The authors believe there's one thread that runs through all greatness, and it's this: how effectively we use the space between stimulus and response. In other words, when life throws adversity your way, setbacks, suffering, disappointment, injustice, what do you do with that space? Do you become a victim, falling into patterns of cynicism, criticizing, complaining, or comparing? Or do you learn to harness the power, energy, and wisdom contained in that difficult moment? Isn't it ironic that the very thing most of us spend our lives trying to avoid, adversity, is exactly what enables us to grow and experience true joy? The book makes this bold claim that a life of convenience and comfort contributes nothing. The authors even present a mantra I've adopted for myself. grow or die. When we stop growing and learning, we die mentally, emotionally, and even physically. Hans Selye, who was a pioneering expert on stress, taught that what keeps our immune system strong is meaningful work and contribution, the essence of which is adversity. I want you to think about something right now. What adversity are you currently facing that might actually be your greatest opportunity for growth? Let that question sit with you and share your thoughts in the comments below. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Any sensible person seeks less adversity, not more, right? I mean, who wakes up and says, you know what would be great today? Some challenges and problems. But here's the problem with that thinking. While you can certainly have a pleasant, enjoyable life avoiding difficulties, you cannot reach even the most basic level of greatness without a healthy dose of adversity. Why? Because adversity has a unique power to inspire exceptional clarity, refocus your priorities, hone your character, and unleash your most potent forces. Even minor setbacks provide fertile soil for growth. If you eliminate adversity completely, you miss out on life's deepest riches and most valuable lessons. The more adversity you escape, the less you become. Let that sink in for a second. The book introduces this fantastic metaphor of campers versus climbers. I just love it. Now, let me know in the comments if you've heard of this concept before. Campers are people who work hard, apply themselves, pay their dues to reach a certain level, and then they plant their tent, stakes, and settle. They're done growing. Comfortable is where they are. Climbers, on the other hand, are that rare breed who continue to learn, grow, strive, and improve until their final breath. They're the ones who look back on life and can truly say, I gave it my all. And guess what? At the heart of the difference between climbers and campers lies what they do with the adversity. So let me ask you, and be honest with yourself, are you currently a camper or a climber in your life? There's no judgment here, just self-awareness. Drop your answer in the comments and let's support each other. If this video is helping you to see adversity in a new light, please hit that like button and share it with someone you might need this message right now. The authors make this powerful statement that really struck me. Adversity is utterly heartless. It couldn't care less whether we succeed or fail. It doesn't care about fairness or justice. Like a powerful wind, it can either do serious damage or, if harnessed properly, it can take you further than you would otherwise go. I love how transparent the author is when he admits that he never consciously thought about adversity until it sought him out. And even then, like most of us, he did everything in his power to avoid it, downplay it, and deny its existence. It wasn't until he finally embraced its full force that he began to understand what he could do and who he had to become. The last line really hits home, doesn't it? When I look back on the whole painful process, I can hardly imagine my life unfolding in any other way. So I want to end this part with a review for reflection. Now, what painful process are you currently going through that might one day be an essential part of your life story? Something you couldn't imagine your life unfolding without. Now, next I'm going to dive deeper into the practical strategies the book offers for harnessing adversity in your life. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you don't miss out on future videos. And if you found value in today's video, just give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who really needs to hear this message. And share your thoughts in the comments below. There's a really good quote from Alfred D. Souza. He was actually a priest, and that stopped me in my tracks. And he said, For a long time, it seemed to me that life was about to begin, real life. But there was always some obstacle in the way, something to be gotten through first, some unfinished business, time to be served, a debt to be paid. Then life would begin. At last it dawned on me that these obstacles were my life. Now, how many of us are waiting for obstacles to clear before our real life can begin? How many of us are thinking, once I get past this challenge, then I can start living? Let me ask you this. What are you currently waiting to get past before your real life can begin? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to know what you're dealing with right now. Now, the book breaks down adversity into two helpful categories that I think can help us understand what we're dealing with. First, there's inner adversity, and these are internal, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual states that cause us hardship. Things like lack of confidence, lethargy, fear, anxiety, uncertainty, depression, self-loathing, physical pain, loneliness. That's me. You get the idea. Then there's outer adversity, things that occurred outside us that cause difficulty. Someone violates your trust, natural disasters, cancelled flights, economic downturns, a friend moves away, your computer crashes at the worst possible moment. And we've all been there, right? And here's the thing. We all face both types of adversity in varying degrees. No one is immune. The book makes it clear that adversity doesn't play favorites, and it comes in all shapes and sizes. Quick question for you. Which type of adversity do you find hard to deal with? Inner or outer? Let me know in the comments, and if you're enjoying this breakdown, please hit that like button. Something I really appreciate about this book is how it expands our definition of adversity. Most of us think of adversity only as something serious or terrible, the big life-changing stuff. The authors point out that adversity really encompasses the entire range of hassles, obstacles, difficulties, hardships, misfortunes, setbacks, and challenges, even those we willingly take on. In simple terms, adversity occurs when something negatively affects or is predicted to negatively affect someone or something you care about. There's another really good quote in the book from George Bernard Shaw that really hits hard about the purpose of life. Shaw says, "This is the true joy in life, being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one, being thoroughly worn out before you are thrown on the scrap heap, being a force of nature, instead of being a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy." That's not exactly gentle, is it? But there's so much truth there. The authors explain that there are two kinds of fatigue in life. You can be used up in a good way, or you can be used up in a bad way. Being used up in a good way means pouring your finest efforts towards engaging, elevating cause, and then something that matters to you. Being used up in a bad way means you expend your precious life force just being pummeled into adversity, suffering real loss with little, if any, gain. Now, this reminds me of another quote from a book by Vince Lombardi, and I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, his greatest fulfillment of all he holds dear, is the moment when he has worked out his heart in a good cause and lies exhausted in the field of battle, victorious. So let me ask you this. Are you currently being used up in a good way or a bad way? Are you pouring yourself into something meaningful or just being drained by circumstances? This is such an important question to reflect on. And share your thoughts in the comments below. Now let's talk about something really important, avoiding adversity. The book makes a fascinating point about how avoiding the challenges we need to face can actually create cancerous emotions like self-doubt or even self-loathing. They give the example of a person who knows they need to lose weight for their health, has all the knowledge and the tools to do so, but keeps postponing the hard work. Each day they avoid facing this challenge. Their self-esteem takes another hit, and I think many of us can relate to this in some area of our life, right? That thing we know we need to face, but keep putting it off. But the authors also make an important distinction. Avoidance does have its purpose sometimes. If you're utterly spent having just survived a major crisis, sometimes the strategic move is to temporarily avoid additional adversity until you've regained your strength. And the key word here is temporary. And this is where your values come in. They help you define your priorities and decide which hard steps to sidestep for now and which ones to take on first. The book also talks about the difference between merely surviving adversity versus harnessing it. Sometimes in truly difficult circumstances, survival is exceptionally noble and we can all hope for it temporarily. Now, hanging on tenaciously while trapped under earthquake rubble is elevating behavior. But, and this is a big but, slogging off to a job you hate day after day, year after year, just because it's easier than bettering your circumstances. That's not harnessing adversity. That's just being beaten down by it. So here's my question as we wrap up for today. What adversity in your life are you currently just surviving when you could be harnessing it for growth? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. So if you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might need this message, and make sure you're subscribed. And what we'll do in future videos is we will go into these strategies in greater detail. Just remember, those obstacles aren't just things to get past before your real life can begin. According to this powerful book, those obstacles are your life and potentially your greatest opportunity for growth. So let's wrap up with the last part of the adversity advantage, because I'm really enjoying this journey with you all, and your comments in the previous sections are really helped me. Now, let's talk about something super practical, the different ways people typically respond to adversity. The book breaks this down brilliantly. The authors explain that we've all witnessed people using different strategies to cope with adversity. Some are destructive, like excessive drinking, constant complaining, blaming others, or playing political games to outposition others. Then there are the more constructive coping mechanisms, like venting off to friends, or blowing off steam at the gym, or taking breaks to clear your head. But here's where it gets really interesting. The book introduces this spectrum of how we can respond to adversity. When you work to affect your adversity in some positive way, you're simply managing it. It's better than just coping, but it's still just keeping adversity in check. But when you use adversity to actually elevate yourself and others, or for some tangible gain, that's harnessing adversity. And that's where the magic really happens. Now let me ask this. Are you currently managing adversity in your life, or are you harnessing it? There's a huge difference. So just let me know in the comments below. The book shares this incredible story that really drove this point home for me. 3 days after Hurricane Katrina, probably one of the worst natural disasters in US history, a local resident who had lost everything was interviewed on national TV. And when asked how he felt knowing that his city was destroyed, he said something unexpected. He said, "New Orleans is gone, but it always had some serious problems." I know this may not be a popular time to say this, but maybe this is our golden opportunity to make her better for everyone. Now, hard to believe. In the midst of total devastation, this man was already seeing the potential for transformation. That's harnessing adversity at its finest. And the book makes a fascinating observation about how most people's assumptions about adversity run along the lines is less is more. We dream of retirement as a life that is simpler and more predictable. We build gated communities to keep chaos out. We take vacations to escape adversity. Parents obviously often do everything they can to reduce their children's adversity instead of allowing them to contend with some challenges on their own. But what if this approach is completely backward? The authors introduced the battle cry that I absolutely love. Take it on. Instead of hoping adversity doesn't hit or worrying about what happens when it does, you can gear up, turn into the onslaught, and say, take it on. Of course, they acknowledge that when we step into a storm, the path will almost always get tougher, involve more pain, and take longer than we predicted. When things get really hard, it's tempting to fall back into the old habits of denial and coping and minimizing those defenses that have failed us time and time again. Has there been a time in your life when you decided to take on a challenge instead of avoiding it? What happened? Share your experiences in the comments below. Now, the book introduces several key concepts that I found helpful. First is the adversity continuum. Most people avoid, survive, cope with, or manage adversity, consuming their life force in the process. But harnessing adversity actually feeds your life force. Second, there are the adversity assumptions. And most people assume adversity is bad and less is better. But the truth is that adversity is not only potentially good, but essential for everyday greatness. Thirdly, there's your adversity inventory and summit challenge, where you list and sort your adversities and pinpoint the one thing you've always wanted to do but haven't yet done. And then finally, there's the take it on strategy, your personalized approach to facing adversity and beginning to turn it into an advantage. There's a line in the book that really resonated with me, and it's often the best things in life do not come naturally. Isn't that the truth? The author suggests that we should boldly decide what we want to do, why it's important, and whether we have the will to persevere. They encourage us to let adversity be the flame which strength are forged. Now, it's a powerful image. The book argues that focusing exclusively on what you're good at can actually be a subconscious way of avoiding adversity that comes with very real effort. Instead, we should use adversity to help us grow entirely new strengths and sharpen the existing. There's a college professor mentioned in the book who said that human beings are probably the only species in the entire animal kingdom who can dream beyond their limitations. And I love that. To settle into our obvious strengths and paths where they lead us to is to slash from our deepest psyches, the deepest yearnings and highest aspirations. Of course, as Friedrich Nietzsche once said, he who has a strong enough why can bear almost anyhow. And the book shares this great comparison between two fish shop owners. Both jobs involve plenty of adversity: fog, cold, rude customers, smelly fish, inconsistent quality, undependable fishermen, and thin profit margins. But the one shop owner is shrunk by adversity, while the other is ennobled by it. One is consumed by adversity, the other consumes it to fuel his day. One is a realist, the other one is what the authors call an alchemist. I love the term, an alchemist. someone who transforms the base metal of adversity into the gold of advantage. The book explains that these alchemists feed their fuel cells by focusing on the kinds of learning, exercise, meditation, relationships, nutrition, and prayer that rejuvenate them, not just for themselves, but first and foremost for others. So as I wrap it up, I want to ask you one final question. Are you ready to become an alchemist in your own life? Are you ready to transform your adversities into advantages? Think about the biggest challenge you're facing now. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try and ask, what can I learn from this? Or how can I use this to grow? And basically, we'll be going into more strategies for becoming an adversity alchemist. So again, please subscribe and hit the notification bell if you are enjoying the video. The adversity advantage has changed the way I view challenges in my life, and I hope this review has helped you to see your struggles in the same light. And again, just share this with someone who might benefit from this message, and just share in the comments which concepts resonated with you most. And remember, adversity isn't your enemy. It might just be your greatest teacher and ally. That's all for today. Till next time.